This, of course, is still VSA. The appeals were brought before the Supreme Court by the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and his counterpart, the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi, challenging the declaration by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, that President Tinubu of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, was the valid winner of the presidential elections held on February 25th. Of course, they prayed the Apex Court set aside the September 6th judgment of the Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC, which dismissed their allegation that the election was rigged in favor of the ruling party. Aside from challenging the president's eligibility to participate in the contest, both Atiku, who came second, and Obi, who came third, maintained that Tinubu did not secure the majority of valid votes that were cast during the elections to be declared the winner. And of course, eventually, the Supreme Court held it in favor of President Bola Tinubu as the winner of the presidential elections that was conducted earlier this year in Nigeria. And of course, to make sense of all of this, I am joined at this time by Baba Yusuf, a policy strategist and group CEO, Global Investments and Trade Company, joining from Abuja, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Baba Yusuf.
Thank you for having me, Dapo. Good to be here.
Great. I'm also joined by Evans Ufeli, legal practitioner all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time, Evans.
Thank you, Dapo.
All right. Before I get your, immediate reaction on this, I think it's important we get some reactions from the stakeholders that actually were in court this morning. Take a listen.
As a fine imposed on the second respondent for the proceeds of narcotics and money laundering by the District Court of Illinois. I sat down through, I did not hear it. Yes, it has been laid to rest. The Supreme Court has the authority to interpret the Constitution. It is their prerogative as the arm of government imbued with the power to interpret. That is the interpretation they have given to it, and it is binding on us all. That's what I'm going to say on it. Even the Supreme Court agrees that the election was not credible, or as credible as it ought to have been if the result was uploaded. So credibility is one of the three arms of an election for the people: free, fair, and credible.
Well, you see, this is a developing democracy in a developing nation, so you expect such distractions to occur. But I believe we fine-tune our laws, especially electoral laws, and and we believe we shall come to the mature stage that we are expecting. Pertaining to acceptance of this verdict, I urge our colleagues, politicians, to accept it in good faith. And also I have to use this opportunity to congratulate politicians, to congratulate the leaders of the opposition political parties, because it is better for them to resort to judiciary, which they have done so, rather than taking, arms against against each other. Yeah. So we have to congratulate our politicians for resorting to judiciary, and the judiciary has done well. It means that democracy is getting matured in Nigeria, and we are happy with that.
Maybe you don't understand what he said. They have those special status. What he said that in terms of calculating or having the special score, you must not win FCT before you are declared president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That FCT is like another state. So that you don't need to say, if you don't win FCT, therefore you cannot be declared. That's what he said. I didn't come with APC crew. And in the court here, I don't know where they said APC and PDP. I came here as somebody who's interested, as somebody who wanted the country to move forward. So I congratulate Mr. President, and I think that this has come to the end. No more speculation. So Mr. President can focus and do what he's supposed to do for Nigeria.
You just saw the reaction there of the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, and of course, before him was Ganduje, that's the chairman or the leader of the ruling All Progressives Congress. And the first, which we showed you, was Kenneth Okonkwo, the legal counsel, or one of those, on the legal counsel of the Obidati campaign group. Well, gentlemen, I want to come back to you, Baba Yusuf, and of course, Evans. Let me start with you, Baba Yusuf. I want to believe you followed the process. What are your general thoughts concerning what panned out today at the Supreme Court in Nigeria, even though we understand that, the next point of redress, if at all, according to one of them, is God. We know that the ruling by the Supreme Court is binding. But what is your immediate reaction to what happened today at the Supreme Court? Baba Yusuf.
Thank you, Dapo, for having me. Some of us already opined a couple of weeks ago when the PEPC came out with the judgment that most likely the outcome will be as such. The only area that gave room for speculations and possibly expectations of something different coming out of it is the potential assumption of jurisdiction by the last court of instance, the Supreme Court, with regards to the prayers of the presidential candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, with regards to, submitting fresh evidence that has to do with certificate forgery and, of course, the issues of allegations of narcotics trafficking. That would have been the window that would have opened a new vista with regards to this litigation that has just ended. The Supreme Court, in this judgment, did not assume jurisdiction to accept new evidences, and to that effect upheld the judgment of the PEPC. I wrote and I spoke about this at that time, that possibly the parties from the first instance were not able to front-load some of this critical evidence that would obviously change the course of the outcome of this, litigation. That being said, the Apex Court has given ruling. There must be an end to litigation. From my own perspective, is for us to review, pick up the lessons learned, see how we can improve our electoral process, and now pursue governance and ensure they deliver the dividends of democracy for Nigerians.
All right, Baba Yusuf, we will still get to that. Moving forward, matters arising as regards the future, the electoral future of Nigeria. But I want to go to you, Evans. You're a legal practitioner. Did you, prior to the, of course, decision of the Supreme Court, from a legal point of view, did you expect maybe something a bit different than what transpired today in terms of the ruling?
As lawyers, we are not trained to expect anything other than what the judgment is, or what the judgment that comes out from contestations of legal battle. We're expected to get it from the Supreme Court or the court under reference that is determining the case, and not to preempt or expect or not expect. The Supreme Court today have dismissed Atiku and Obi's appeal on the basis that they lack merit.
Okay. Great. No, I was about to ask you, do you think the ruling was exhaustive enough?
Yeah, the ruling, it was. Most of the issues have been determined already by the tribunal. Okay. What the Supreme Court did is to review what the tribunal, the lower court, have done. The jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in the electoral matter is what we call appellate jurisdiction. And that appellate jurisdiction is what the Supreme Court has exercised and charged today. Looking at the issues raised by the parties who went to court, Peter Obi and Atiku. And if you look at the Peter Obi's case, most of the issues raised were issues that have been determined effectively by the Court of Appeal. And that is why, if you notice, there was really no much emphasis was placed on the obese case because the issues of 25% that he raised, the Supreme Court went as far as saying that Abuja have no special status as it is. And the other issues raised were issues of irregularity, which were not proven, issues of fraud and conviction were not substantiated with the requisite evidence that is required to ground a claim. On the PDP side, the fresh evidence that was supposed to be tendered, like the respondent counsel argued vehemently during the hearing at the Supreme Court, that the 180 days which the Electoral Act, talked about within which to determine a case had already expired. So if you are coming with an evidence, that evidence ought to have been tendered within the 180 days allowed by law. Hence, it was not tendered then. The Supreme Court said that you cannot use that evidence to activate the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court as predicated on Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act, because the said window for which that evidence is supposed to come in had expired. And also that Section 22 of the Supreme Court Act gives the Supreme Court a lot of prerogative, a lot of discretion in the determination of whether or not a fresh evidence can be admitted at that level. So you find out that assuming but not considering that the evidence was even admitted, two documents of divergent view on the same issue, one admitting the fact that the president went to the school, another one giving an opposite direction. Assuming but not considering that the evidence was even admitted, the court would have struck both evidence out, because where the court is faced with two evidence on the same issue, one saying you should go forward, one saying you should go backward, the court will not go forward or backward, will strike the two out. That is what would have been the fate of that evidence. You notice that during the trial, during the hearing, the judge, Justice Okoro of the Supreme Court, made mention of the fact that the evidence, the most started evidence of Atiku, where they're talking about that they got from the American University and not that the Chicago University, are evidence which are before the court and they have divergent view on the same issue. So, and the issue of not authenticating sin by what the Supreme Court made out of it is also a big issue to be contended with.
I mean, let's slightly, I mean, in lieu of all of these details, I mean, that, of course, we had during the hearing, I want to ask you, do you think all of this legal crossfire, starting from the tribunal level up to the Supreme Court level, do you think in any way it boosted the confidence of Nigerians, particularly in the judiciary in the country? Because, I mean, if you follow some feelers, you would also agree to some extent that the mood is neither here nor there to a very large extent. So do you think that this entire judicial process actually, in a way, boosted the confidence of Nigerians in the system?
The law is not designed to boost confidence. The law is designed to direct the course of justice.
What does that mean? Sorry, you said the law is not designed to boost confidence, but direct the course of justice. But I want to also believe that justice is meant to boost confidence. If I get justice, then it means I trust you.
That is if the public understand what justice is.
So what is justice?
What the Nigerian public wants is that the court should throw away the principles of law and adopt whoever it is they believe they voted for as the winner of the election. That's what they call justice. That is what they want their confidence to. You want your confidence to be boosted, okay? You went to the polls, okay? You came to the tribunal and you said that your votes were taken away from you and given to another candidate. You could not bring the particulars, not a local government, not a polling unit, nothing. And yet you want the court to now make you the president of the country by virtue of your sentiments. That's what I'm saying. You see this thing, Most Nigerians will not even read this judgment before they go about start analysis. How the judges have collected money, how the judiciary is Nigerians' problem. Whereas you are before the court, you are unable to prove your case. The court is not about settlement or the boost of any nation's confidence.
Are you there, Evans?
A production of...
Evans, are you there? Okay, of course, while we are still trying to connect to Evans. Baba Yusuf, I want to go to you right now. If you can hear me, I would also like to direct the question to Evans. Are you back?
I'm here.
Okay, great. We lost you for a moment. Please, you may land.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that it is the responsibility of the court to ensure that the parties conform to the rules of law. And the rules of law here is that you must be able to prove your case, okay? Where you say there are irregularities and you are unable to prove it, where you say someone has been convicted by a court in the US and you are unable to prove, you are able to at least put before the court a charge sheet that showed that he was arraigned, a record of proceeding that showed that he went through trial, and a judgment inculpating him that he was convicted, then you don't want the court to agree with you. You said your vote was taken away from you and given to another person. You cannot prove by giving us at least one particular of that issue. Nothing. So the court is about boosting the confidence of the people, but it depends on what the people call confidence. If you hear that assert was proof, if you are before a court with grievances, you must prove that you won that election by evidence. It is not by group protests and here and there. So if you have not done that effectively, you cannot turn around and say that the outcome of the tribunal is neither here or there, okay, whether it has boosted the confidence of the people or not. That's why I said the law is not designed to boost the confidence of anybody.
Okay,
the law is designed to run on the principle of justice.
I will get back to you, Evans, but I want to take Baba Yusuf's thoughts on this. Do you think that this entire judicial process, as a result of the fallout of the presidential elections, has it boosted the confidence of Nigerians in the judicial system?
Thank you, Dapo. Now, I align myself with counsel, fellow panelists with regards to the responses. What I will add to that is there are two lines to this, Dapo. The idealistic position, the idealistic concept of what is fair and what you want as a person or what I want as a person, and then what the law says. We are guided by the law, we are guided by statutes, and indeed the learned judges are guided by that. Evidence, witnesses, and points of law. Now, when you come as an aggrieved party to make a case, however bad it is, even if it is that bad, and you are not able to prove your matter before the court, in the case of evidence, in the case of witnesses, and all the technicalities you present within the ambit of the law does not dash or gift judgment. What do I mean? If we go back to the judgment of the PEPC, for instance, I said it after the ruling as a student of law that when you present inadmissible evidences, as reiterated by the learned judges of the Apex Court today, where a witness that averred to a matter that happened in Sokoto while he was in Kogi, taking the position of a polling booth officer or coalition officer while he's not there, cannot be admissible. A situation whereby also you present evidences were presented and they turn out to be borderline perjury and therefore were struck out. We cannot apply sentiments to that. And like I said, people should do their homework before they go to court. That's the issue. It's not an issue of whether somebody is right or wrong. If we take this business seriously and that goes to politicians, then we should do our homework fundamentally and have pillars that have been set up, within the framework of what you want to do and have the strategy behind it to win a litigation based on facts, based on credible evidence, admissible evidence and credible witnesses. And that is what it is. And then with regards to the idealism about accepting evidences at the Supreme Court level, the Apex Court has taken a position with regards to that. But to add to that as well, to add credence to what counsel said, now the United States of America is an entirely different jurisdiction, that one. And within their own jurisdiction, they have not convicted or record the President Bola Tinubu. There's no record that shows that. But some of us want that sentiment to play out for them to give us a document that says convicted. So that's the issue. With regards to document forgery, I don't want to beat a dead horse. The point is, an application was made to another entirely different jurisdiction. The Apex Court of the land has taken a position with regards to accepting that evidence at this point at the Apex Court, not at the first court of instance in the case of the PEPC. And also, some of us are saying, why didn't these people really pursue this case logically from the beginning, right from 2022, when they would have pursued this matter to the full force as a pre-election matter and maybe create substance to pursue the matter at this point or at that point at the PEPC. So to my mind, and for us to move forward, these are the issues. And at the core, that is why possibly you see the icon of the judiciary is a blindfolded, icon to say it's not about sentiment, it's about what you present. And it is what it is, that one.
All right, Baba Yusuf, I still want to stay with you. I mean, we've seen all of the old process and, of course, the final verdict concerning the Supreme Court. You are a policy strategist. Now, how would you say this particular scenario in any way? Would you say it will probably shape the future of electoral processes in this country and also democracy? Do you think it will have any impact in shaping the future of this particular, will I call it, factors right now in the country?
Absolutely, Dapo. Yesterday in another forum, I said that today's judgment will be a watershed in the political evolution of Nigeria, and that is what it is, because the judgment of the learned judges at the Supreme Court today has created new case laws, and you can see their reiteration towards the end to mention that some matters shouldn't be brought before them again within this context, basically resting that matter going forward. What it does to our polity going forward is the politicians or litigants will, consolidate their positions and be sure-footed in front-loading their issues. So suffice it to say, to my mind, in my opinion, going forward in the next election cycle, you will see more carefulness, you will see more preparedness, you will see more strategic thinking and action in building your case to make your case before the election, petition tribunals. But more than that also, it opens an opportunity for improvement of the electoral process. It also has given definition and defined the provisions of the constitutions. For example, vis-a-vis the position of FCT within the scheme of things in declaring election results, for example, and also with regards to the INEC, for example, whether it is a mandatory platform or it is an optional platform, or it is a value add. The decision of the Supreme Court, whether we like it or not, had laid to rest those issues, and they will form the basis of how elections going forward in 2000 and the next election cycle will be done. Of course, we have also a window of opportunities. We are not saying that it's a perfect system. I said it somewhere. We are looking at a over 200-year-old model of democracy, the United States of America. When we put it side by side as a review with a 24-year-old Fourth Republic, I believe that we have done as much as we could so far. Is it so good? Yeah, we can give it fair and pass mark, but it could be better. And the only way it could be better is for us to recognize what we have done well and recognize what we have not done well and improve those processes with regards to electoral processes, with regard to judicial processes, and also our actions as citizens of this country, and more importantly than any other thing, because we are the ones that will decide to shape the future political landscape of Nigeria as citizens, based on how we want to be governed going forward.
All right, I want to go back to you, Evans. Still, within the same line of questioning, but this time around, we also noticed that during this entire process, a lot of references were made, particularly when it comes to the legality of some of the scenarios highlighted. Now, in the aspect of the law, as a lawyer, what areas will you say that needs immediate attention as a result of all of what we have seen transpire during, of course, this entire litigation and, of course, a petition process that needs to be addressed moving forward to avoid issues like this, linger for so long?
Yeah, the area I think which is fundamental is that Nigeria must reform our political system. Originally, it is not the responsibility of the court to confer mandate on a politician. It is the people's duty and responsibility to choose their leader. Okay? But because the electoral system is ruptured, because the politicians collude with the citizens to degenerate the political system, to fracture the political system. People fall out of elections and go to the tribunal because they are usually dissatisfied with the way it is conducted, the way and manner people go about snatching ballot boxes, fighting, selling and buying votes, taking gratification, and doing all sort of malpractice. That is what have led us to this stage where it is now the judiciary that will now determine the mandate of the people. That is wrong. It's just that the judiciary is the last point of call when it comes to dispute resolution. Otherwise, it is the people whose responsibility is to make sure that they vote in their leader and do it in a transparent manner. If we have that, there will be no need for tribunals. There will be no need to say all eyes on the judiciary. You are saying all eyes on the judiciary. The same people who fractured the system, the same people who are working tooth and nail against a free and fair election, when they turn around the next day and say all eyes on the judiciary, people are not expecting the judiciary to use judgment to correct the ills of society, to now give us a mandate and all that. That is the issue. Okay, if the people agree, okay, that they are going to vote for a particular party and that party emerges the winner and there's no malpractice anywhere, nobody will go to court. Okay, but because there's malpractice, people are in court, and now the power brokers, the determining factor have shifted from the people to the court. The court now decides. That is the fundamental area where, and two, there must be a way of correcting the conduct of INEC during the election. INEC is very partisan. INEC does not have a mind of its own. With all the budgets, with all the funds voted for it, one would think that it would develop the capacity to be independent and to be able to work without fear or favor. But that is not the case in other. Look at what INEC did during the election. They have made promises to the people, promises they never made any attempt to keep. Only to turn around and say it's not compulsory that they must keep to their promise. That there is no law that says they must keep to their promise. It sounds so very, very annoying that INEC will get away with all the atrocities it committed during this election. No, not for whoever, but against the electoral and political system.
All right.
That too should be corrected.
All right. Of course, you're still watching VSA. At this point, we will go on a quick break. When we return, of course, we will be talking about the future of Nigeria's election and democracy and what lies ahead for the new government. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is still VSA. Well, before we get into the next line of conversation, let's take further reactions from some of the major stakeholders in the petition that, of course, judicial petition that, of course, was laid to rest at the Supreme Court earlier today. And, of course, they were also present. Take a listen.
We're glad that this puts an end to all litigation and a closure to all the speculations and all that. Mr. President, in his magnanimity, I'm sure will now begin reach out to all to join hands with him in his renewed hope agenda. APC was his platform, but the Nigerian state is where he's president of. So this is not just a victory for our party APC, it's a victory for the country.
Like the judge said, all litigation must come to an end. They addressed all the issues, about 7 of them, and those issues were, and the judgments on each of the issues were clearly unassailable as far as I'm concerned. So for me now is the time for us all, every Nigerian, particularly the president, to roll up his sleeves and continue with the governance. This has been a distraction. The litigants exercise their rights to go to court, but that has come to an end now. We now have to all come together as one country, one people, and move ahead and take this country where it rightfully should be. We're happy, we're excited.
Of course, that was the reaction of the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, and before him, Dakwa Abiodun, the Governor of Ogun State in Western Nigeria. And of course, I still have my guest with me on the program. We have Baba Yusuf, a policy strategist and group CEO, Global Investments and Trade Company, all the way from Abuja, Nigeria, and also Evans Ufeli, legal practitioner from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you once again, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, I would like to start off with you, Baba Yusuf. We know that soon there would be off-cycle elections, particularly in Imo State and Kogi State, just to mention a few. And but in Imo State, we saw what happened, in the early elections that brought in Hope Uzodinma, how he got into power through, of course, judicial back and forth. How do you think INEC can, boost or renew its confidence, particularly in some Nigerians who have lost hope in the process of INEC conducting elections through this particular states to ensure that it's up to the task and, of course, it's also accountable?
It behoves on INEC, first of all, to upscale their performance. There's a lot of dropping the ball on the part of INEC during the past elections. Failure of technology after so many promises made, that has robbed up to some level, to some extent, the integrity of the institution as an electoral umpire, and casted aspersions and a lot of gray areas with regards to the process. I hope and pray that the leadership of INEC has that in their consciousness and their conscience, so that subsequent elections will be better guided, better executed. With regards to Imo election, we will wait and see how they play out. INEC, how they do their job, but we also reiterate, and please let us also remind ourselves that apart from the electoral umpire, if we look at the entire electoral process, and if we don't want to continue doing what I call driving the principle of hypocrisy of expectations, we should also speak truth to ourselves. And INEC is an institution driven by human beings, and elections are conducted by human beings and observed by human beings. A lot of these election malpractices are conducted by the same citizens that will sit back and point fingers and say they should be led by angels and saints. So my remark will not just be on INEC to up their game. There's a lot that left to be desired with regards to some critical things they were supposed to do, communication, operational lapses and all that. But importantly, the citizens should be up to their game, to the realities of what they want. And it starts with them, you and me, refusing to accept gratification, electing leaders not based on materialism, but based on substance and capacity and track record and all those things. That is what is very key, because most of the time we end up with leaders we criticize, but then when you look at it from the mirror, you see a lot that led to them becoming leaders has to do with the us factor, not the they factor. So security agencies have a lot to do. Imo is a hotspot at the moment. We saw the upscaling and insecurity, how security agents were killed some weeks ago and all that. So they have to be up to their task to protect the lives and livelihoods of citizens, first of all, very important, and protect the integrity of the process much as they can, because there's a thin line between involvement of security agencies in the middle of the electoral process and then being on the sideline and being neutral arbiters, as the case may be. But it is a holistic thing for all of us, not just INEC as an institution. Now, of course, for the players, the governor himself and all the other contestants, they should realize that they are leading people, and unless we have a society, you don't have a society to lead. Let's speak to our conscience as a whole, as a people, please.
All right, I would like to go to Evans right now. Evans, quickly, I mean, you said in one of your statements that the electoral process seems ruptured. How can INEC use the upcoming off-cycle elections to sort of, will I say, repair some of its battered or beaten up image, particularly as a result of the fallout of the presidential elections, and also boost confidence of the people there to come out and vote, because they know that at the end of the day, their interest will be represented?
And integrity. Stay away from politicians. That has been the bane of their operations. They should stay away from politicians. Politicians can destroy anything. Politicians would have destroyed this country a long time ago, if not for the courts, if not for the decent judiciary. Okay? When it comes to election, politicians want to win at all costs. And because they want to win at all costs, they get every institution involved corrupted. And INEC have found it very difficult to have a mind of its own. We saw how staff of INEC during the election were altering documents and all that after collecting gratification and all that. INEC was trained and retrained the staff so that the big goal should be patriotism. If we are all patriotic, we will reduce our problem to the barest minimum. Okay? They should not go about it. Conducting election is not rocket science. We must make sure that even the voters, okay, the electors, they should be people who should come out to vote with integrity and not pollute the politicians to undermine the system. You see, the issue of the attitudinal issue of the Nigerian people is more of the problem than the constitutional issues. And that attitudinal issue stems from the family unit, from where these persons are coming from. So, put together, INEC should remember there is an umpire. Then the people should also remember that they have a country to protect. And if we put that in context, we'll be able to stand together and defeat the politicians and ensure that we choose the leaders of our dream and our aspiration.
All right, gentlemen.
Because all issues of malpractice.
Okay, all right, gentlemen. Because we're pressed with time, I mean, in bullet points, probably less than 30 seconds. What do you think lies ahead as, a means or as an urgency for the new administration right now? What should they look up to? What should they address in the quickest possible time? I would like to start off with you, Baba Yusuf.
Basically, for President Bola Tinubu as president in sitting to deliver his promise that he made to Nigerians, deliver the mandate beyond rhetoric, beyond mantra. We are at dire straits as a nation. The quick wins needs to start kicking in. We saw the free falling of Naira and the astronomical rise of the dollar, the breakdown of insecurity. Things are going worse. We are approaching December. The economic headwinds most likely will increase because it's traditional. So we want to see action and we want to see results. Performance are measured by results, not events.
All right, I would like to take your thoughts to Evans. What lies ahead for the new government?
The security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. That's section 14.2 of the 1999 Constitution. This administration must go back to section 14.2. It said the essence of government is the security and welfare of the people. The welfare of Nigerians as we speak is completely nothing to write home about. The security of Nigerians as we speak is completely nothing to write home about. And those two issues are the primary purpose of government. So if the purpose of government is the aforementioned issues, then this government should go and address the security and welfare of it.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pa.
All right. Of course, I've been having conversations with Baba Yusuf, a policy strategist and group CEO of Global Investment and Trade Company, all the way from Abuja, and also Evan Sufedi, legal practitioner, Lagos, Nigeria. I'd like to say a big thank you for joining me on the show today. And of course, keep it locked on News Central Television. Bye for now.